Hey there, Mercy here, and today I'd like to talk to you about another cool indie racing game I've been playing called Victory Heat Rally. First off, I just want to thank the publisher Playtonic Games for providing me with a key for a review. I wasn't paid or given any requirements or guidelines for this video, all opinions are my own. Thank you again to Playtonic Games for the key. The first thing that struck me when I was considering whether or not to cover Victory Heat Rally was its visuals. I'm usually not the biggest fan of this 2.5D look, especially not with racing games. I think it can very quickly get confusing between what's in the foreground and what's in the background. So, not off to a great start, but after playing the game, I think Victory Heat Rally pulls it off beautifully. I like how there are a mix of sprites and models in the environment. It's not just your 2D car in a 3D world. The 3D objects are modeled and textured very plainly, and it isn't jarring like I usually see in these types of games. Honestly, this game moves so fast at times I didn't have a whole lot of time to differentiate between the 2D and the 3D objects. Victory Heat Rally's sense of speed, to me, is one of its strong suits. Tracks are designed in a way to facilitate this sense of speed with long straightaways and wide corners to hit big drifts through. Very rarely does the game have a corner where you really have to slow down a whole bunch. It's more about mastering when and where to drift your car through, building up your boost, and then letting loose. Victory Heat Rally is one of those games with a drift button, which has become sort of a bad word these days for whatever reason, but I think it works really great in a game like this. I don't have to worry about weight transfer or pulling a handbrake or any of that. This is about as arcadey as an arcade racer can get. The longer you hold a drift, the bigger boost you'll inevitably have when you decide to let go of the button. On top of these basic mechanics, Victory Heat Rally has different characters and cars to choose from, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. You start off with 3 characters, one who has pretty good handling, one with pretty good speed, and one who's somewhere in the middle. You're able to customize each car further with car parts. It's not much, nothing like a Need for Speed or something like that, for example, but you can customize whether you want to prioritize your speed over handling or weight over acceleration and vice versa. I think it's pretty cool. These differences are huge depending on what event you're participating in. The biggest mode in this game, and the one I spent the most time in for this video, was Championship. Championship mode is split up into 9 tours, each tour being composed of 4 main events, 4 Joker events, a Grand Prix, and then a versus race. The main events are either circuit racing or rally racing. Circuit racing is you versus 11 other racers. First place awards a gold medal, second silver, and so on. Rally racing, you're racing against the clock, trying to beat a specific time for a gold medal. I didn't have too many issues with circuit mode, but in rally mode, I found that the announcer either gave me the wrong callouts or just none at all. See, in a typical rally game, you're having turns and hazards called out to you ahead of time so you can adjust accordingly. Slight right, hairpin left, jump, etc. In Victory Heat Rally, I found that on multiple different occasions I was told left when the next turn was right, or they told me jump when I had to say take a right first and then a jump. Not a huge issue since these tracks aren't too long and the game is pretty forgiving to mistakes, but I thought I should mention it anyway. It's a little bit frustrating when you're just getting into the game and learning a track for the first time. It's something simple I'm sure the devs can fix in the future, so I'm not really going to hold it against them. After completing certain events, you'll unlock the next mainline event and a Joker. The Jokers in this game play out in a variety of different ways. The game may have you drifting to reach a certain number of drift points or driving through a certain number of gates. One of my favorite modes was having to pass a certain number of cars under a time limit, but if you hit a car, it knocks a second off your total time left. It starts out pretty easy, but later events they really pack the cars tightly together, and it's challenging trying to bob and weave through traffic as well as having to navigate the course. After you've completed all of the mainline events, you have to complete a Grand Prix to complete the tour. Each Grand Prix consists of the previous 4 events you just completed, all in one long event where you have to beat your rival and the other NPC drivers. Who's your rival, you ask? Well, each tour has a different driver that's unlockable after you complete the GP, and if you have enough VHR points, you can compete against this rival in a 1v1 race. What are VHR points? Well, getting a gold medal in any event pays out 3 points, silver 2, bronze 1. So, stacking up gold medals is important to unlocking new characters as you progress through the game. I generally like the concept of unlocking new characters and having rivals, but my single biggest issue with Victory Heat Rally is simple. Who are these people? You're not introduced to these characters until you compete in the Grand Prix at the end of a tour, and even then they only have 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that isn't even really directed at you, the player. The only character I felt any sort of attachment to was Sally, the pit reporter who appears whenever a new track shows up. She appears to tell you about how treacherous the next track is, or how it's going to test a driver's skills. She also shows up during the short interviews with your rival before the Grand Prix. Once you beat that rival, then there isn't much more to them other than than a selectable car with varying stats. I would have liked to see this rival compete against you in every event before the finale. Maybe talking trash before the race, all big and tough and gloating, or however the writers wanted to portray their personality. And then after you beat them in an event, they're shocked or confused or whatever they want to do with goofy expressions, or however the devs wanted to do it. The possibilities are endless. The rivals just don't have much of a personality. Their designs are okay, I guess, but I never really saw them as anything more than a new car, and that's it. The car designs themselves I thought were pretty bland too. Even after unlocking every new car and character combo, I never unlocked a character with, say, a truck, a van, or even a 4-door sedan. Every car is a 2-door coupe with a spoiler. Each car does feel different, and like I said earlier, you can tweak them with parts, and visually they have different paint colors to unlock, and while that is important, the cars themselves don't look too different from one another. I would have liked to see some sort of variety. Maybe the character with a truck has a lot of power, but their acceleration is slow, for example. Just some kind of visual representation of what kind of driver they are, what their stats are like, something purely visual. After completing a tour, you're on to the next to repeat until the end of the game. There's a nice variety to the tracks, some with huge jumps, some with windy corners, some with long straightaways with hairpins all over the place. I especially loved this windy hairpin infested map that took me through a mountain. It was a lot of fun to try to time the drifts and time when to tap the brakes and when to boost. It was great. Truth be told, most of the maps in Victory Heat Rally are top notch, and they're really a ton of fun to drive on with these physics. There were a few I wasn't a fan of, but the good outweighs the bad in my opinion when it comes to the tracks. Championship mode took me about 5 hours to complete. I didn't collect every gold medal in the game, but I unlocked every character and got a gold medal in every Grand Prix, including the very last one that has you racing across 9 tracks instead of 4. After you're done with Championship, there are a few more modes to tinker around with. Arcade GP is basically Grand Prix from single player, but you're just going for the lowest possible time across all tracks. Afterwards, you're shown a leaderboard where you can enter your name. This leaderboard doesn't appear to be online, which to me is a missed opportunity in my opinion, but maybe they'll add it later. Same goes for Time Attack, which is another mode where you're racing against the clock except on individual tracks of your choice. For whatever reason though, my game kept freezing and crashing when selecting certain car and track combinations in this mode. Hopefully it's just another bug that the devs can fix soon, so I'm not going to hold it against them. It's just something that you should be aware of before you buy the game. Lastly, there's a versus mode, which is a local split screen multiplayer mode with up to 4 players. I don't have any friends who are into these kind of games, so sadly I don't have any footage of this mode, but if you have friends, congratulations. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with this mode. I'm 100% sure of that. It's a solid single player game, so I can't see that changing with friends around, just having a good time shooting the shit. All in all, Victory Heat Rally is a really fun game, marred by a few bugs that I'm sure the devs can fix with a patch or two. If you're watching this video, then the game is already available for purchase on PC and available on iOS and Android via the Crunchyroll Games Vault. The devs plan to have a Switch version out soon, with PlayStation and Xbox possibly coming later. All footage today was captured from the PC version of the game. I'll link the Steam store page in the description. Thank you all for watching. My name is Mercy, and as always, have a good one.